beloved Ascension Pioneers, and welcome to this latest Ascension update. And before we begin, I wish to tell you about some updates on my work of service. As you know, I've been sharing, in addition to these videos and podcasts, on SoundCloud. But I recently got this guidance that I am to shift in this vibrational attunement work that I'm doing, because a lot of what I shared there was based on astrology and tarot, and then the energetic attunement through sound and certain light exercises and attunement. I will no longer be sharing that in that format and for free, because I ran out of my subscription, which somebody offered for me as a donation for free on SoundCloud. But also the vibration, the format is changing. So I received this guidance that the messages will now be on this higher level that I came here to embody. So these will be now Holy Spirit messages with sacred celestial sound attunement, and I will offer them as probably as a monthly offering on my page under Divine Music and Attunements. So I will let you know when this begins in the next video update on particular in that topic. But for now, I'll share a bit about these astrological highlights and what they mean for us on a higher level, because you know we can read astrology always in different levels of awareness. So I like to present a higher perspective of what's taking place for us in our ascension, not just, you know, what's taking place with different planets dancing these cosmic dances together. So in this Ascension update, I will cover what I usually covered in my podcasts. The higher attunement part will now be available through the Holy Spirit messages. So the octave of that sharing is changing, because all this summer I've been preparing to embody this new level, and I'll talk about this further as this chapter begins, starting with the month of September, which is usually a month when people go to school, children go to school, we go to school as well. You know, we're in Virgo essence, which is all about the detailed work and structure and preparing for the long term, for the long run. And this time we also have Jupiter in Virgo, so this is increasing our devotion to that. So let's begin with some of these highlights and how we can benefit them on a collective level, and see somehow how Spirit is working through us at this time, because September is a breakthrough month. It's a very special month. It's a month of fulfilling wishes. But of course, this means we need to energetically align to that, which means making choices on a physical level that align with what we know spiritually, which means through awareness. So as you know, a lot of masters, they share about presence, how it is to just be present. But a lot of this is this vertical knowing, which we as physical ascension beings are paving the way for that, for the human vessel to refine, to materialize in a new form, in a divine human template. We're utilizing this also horizontally, so that's why I'm sharing these things to put out this potential of what's possible. As you know, when you walk your journey, you are sometimes thinking about who you are, what you're doing here, and a lot of times you get glimpses of your purpose, but you don't stay there, because your purpose is something that reveals itself as you get more and more soul embodied. It's not something that you search on the outside, although there's always clues and messages and synchronicities coming to support your further knowing and expansion into your purpose. So when we move into Jupiter in Virgo for these 13 months, we're really going to start to receive more in this devotional level. And everything you're creating begins to be more devotional, which means based on devoting yourself to be a pure channel for Spirit. For those of you who really know this is their path, it's not for everybody. Not everybody's interested in becoming this pure attainment of this liquid light of our true divinity, of our true divine spark in a Christed self level. So I'm going to talk about some of the things that are cosmically happening for us, which we can observe not just through astrology, but mostly, as you know, it comes through feeling. The more we attune to our inner feeling, the more we'll get these glimpses and guidance, and life will just start to make sense. So purpose is something that we're constantly co-creating. And as I've been thinking about my purpose and some of the things that I used to do, it's all just steps. And I remember a few years back when I started this journey, it was in 2010, I think, I had a coach, and he told me, he said that all this time up until this thread threshold that is written already in my chart. It's in my astrology. He used a certain astrology. It was not Western, it was Eastern astrology he used. He said, you're preparing actually for the purpose. You're going to be truly, truly living in 2018, which doesn't mean that you're not going to be living yourself up until that point. It's just going to all add up together, and you're really going to be living that which you came here to do on this planet. And Virgo and Jupiter moving into Virgo is that devotion to that, as sometimes being more in preparation for what is yet to come. And sometimes we want things right away, right now. But with cosmic alignments, I already shared this with you, that they're adding up to each other. So if we have a certain activated gateway or a cosmic alignment, planetary conjunction, any other harmonious or more challenging aspect, it's all the seeding of the energy, it's in the implanting of the energy and our light grid here on the planet. And then it's almost like, I've shared this with you before with the sacred breath of life, which moves from the narrowest point and out, it expands out into creation. So as you understand, and if you've been reading maybe Silmarillion from Tolkien, he explains this divinity in creation. So in the beginning you have Eru, the one, then you have the beings who sing all life into creation. We can say these are the Seraph, because they sing things into form. They were called Ainurs, you know, in Silmarillion, in his creation story. And as they became the physical aspects who also went out and create, you know, the creator God said, now these aspects of myself go out and create. And these were 7. There were 7 sacred rays, and they went out and they became the manifestation of that holy breath. And this is sometimes we call the Elohim beings, who became creator gods, who started to implant life, and so that this life forms could flourish and they could evolve and expand and experience. And then later we have we have the elves, the first star beings, the pure ones. And then the pyramid starts to move further and further down. And it's all about more experiencing of creation from that point. So I've shared this with you before. We have Source, which has no counterparts. It has no polarity in that sense. And then you start to get that polarity by already getting out into creation, singing these songs and themes that the Great One, the Eru, the great creator God, had in his divine intellect and this divine logic that permeates all life without reason. It just is so uncomprehendable to us, but it is. It doesn't make it not be. And so when we start to understand this, we will see that we when we move into our creation self, we find ourselves on the level that we feel this is where we are in creation, and this is the aspect that we are serving, because we're all servants of creation. It's just on the level that we have expanded ourselves to, that we agreed. And I've shared this with you many times before. It really is that simple. So when you find this, the less and less you start to think what all you need to do is just falling away, because you're starting to see what you're just naturally becoming into just by being your true self, your authentic nature of how you serve all life in creation. So for me, I've been doing a lot of things, and this is almost like it's moving away. It doesn't mean I'm not going to do things and I'm not multidimensional, but a lot of the things I thought I needed to do are falling away, because my true nature is being revealed to me more and more as I progress in my embodiment. Not just knowing things, but really embodying them. So you can have this great balancing it's now taking place on this planet. There's great balancing. You know, recently on the messages I'm receiving are about balance, yin and yang. It's polarized opposites really merging and forming this union that hasn't been here before. It's been from the beginning seeded, was implanted, but now those of us who are ascending are feeling this literally in our lives. We're feeling it in our form. Our form is becoming so refined, and I'll talk about this later when I share some of the cosmical updates. So we feel into what we truly are here to do, and that just comes so naturally. And I was with someone, and he almost channeled something to me, and he said, well, you're just there sitting in your mountains and you're singing these songs of creation. They're just coming out. And, you know, it's being there on the top of the mountain. It's what represents this. And then the other beings who are ready, they will start to receive them. Some of them will start to act in their own way. And then, you know, like ants in their ant house, they have different roles and tasks. So towards that bottom is you have a lot of people who are then utilizing this and manifesting, making things real, and they're very action-based, which is beautiful. But you know, when you find your own space, and I'm finding mine more and more, just like being comfortable with it, then you really know you have reached this level of this your own unique yin and yang coming together. And this is beautifully taking place now, and the grandness, the greatness of all of it is because Venus and Mars in the beginning of the month of September, but all the way until November, they're dancing this dance cosmically in conjunction. It's beautiful because just recently I watched a show. It's called Venus Joins her Partner Mars, something like that. It's by KG Styles and Kaylin Castell. It's a beautiful show because there's a lot of facts there that we have as an understanding, but then higher spiritual truths come from that. It's just pouring from the things that are just there. So Venus and Mars have their own cycles. Venus is making a dance, and it's dancing like in a 5-pointed star. That's why the 5-pointed star was always, you know, worshipped and appreciated as the sacred goddess. Even in the Wiccan tradition, the paganism, and this what was worshipped. So this is the Venus aspect, the sacred divine feminine. And it makes a 5-pointed star. 5-pointed star essence in sacred geometry is refinement, is the beauty. It's, you know, in 5, the 5th house, 5th dimension is all about creativity. So that's where when we think of Venus, it's a lot in connection with creativity, especially now because Venus is it went retrograde through Leo, and it's going to rise as a morning star again in Leo, which is us moving into this 5th dimensional way of living, being creative, sharing ourselves, being our soul spark, not just here, but really moving into our sacred body vessels. There's a lot of beings who still think spirituality is something mental. It's just facts, you know. Okay, truth is just here. It's just vertical. It's not true. Spirituality is also being real. We have bodies. We have form. Form is a part of creation. It exists for a reason, and you know this. Otherwise, you wouldn't be here. You wouldn't partake this beautiful journey. Sometimes we negate those aspects simply because there's such a desire in our soul to express them. Sometimes it is how it is. We deny the aspects of ourselves that actually want to be expressed the most. So if you're saying body's not important, bodily expression and physicality is not important, we're just mind, then you're denying the aspect of creation, which is the sacred feminine, its beauty, its grace through the beauty that creation offers in all life forms, and, you know, everything that is a part of great love, divine love. So then these aspects, and if you're saying sometimes because your experiences are not mirroring what you want, you're saying, it's not important, and it's actually something that most wants to be expressed for you. So take note of that. If you're thinking that something's not important, usually it's something that wants to be expressed the most. And when Venus and Mars are coming together, they're really coming together to form this partnership, this sacred union of the sacred masculine and feminine. So Venus is that sacred feminine making a 5-pointed star, while Mars creates a 7 geometry. So when you put those images together, the 5-pointed star and the septagram from that the Mars, when he cycles around in our solar system, actually kind of, Mars comes in the spots that Venus is not hitting in a way. So Venus has an 8-year cycle, Mars has a 15-year cycle, and together, when they come together to form these conjunctions, they do that every 32 years. And guess what? When I was born in such a conjunction. It was in 83 September. And it was actually only 2 or 3 degrees apart that my Mars and Venus are, which makes really potent energy. And I was told by the shamanic astrologer that when I was born, I already held the perfection of the sacred masculine and feminine. I was already whole. I didn't need a partner outside of me and things outside of me. But as this now comes a full circle, which is 32 years, which is my age now, as I have my birthday in September, it's amazing. I didn't even know that. I was like, oh, really? Wow. This is a really important time for me, but it's also for the collective. It's just that I was born in one of those conjunctions. So it's beautiful because they're really inviting us to embody this union. Because for me, what this message is, that now I'm ready through all my travels in between those years to now embody this. What I was already born with, it's already in my natal chart. It's already in my soul, this pure benevolence, androgyny I call it sometimes. So Mars and Venus are going to be, when Venus moves direct around September 5th or 6th, then they will be dancing this dance, but already before. And they're going to be always between 10 degrees apart. So 10-degree conjunction, which is a very important number. It's completion number. And they're going to be dancing this until late November. And they're coming together in one very approximate, very direct alignment again then. So Saturn is also in the mix here because he's going to create this other movement, which is actually gonna, like I said, it's Saturn is that commitment, it's devotion, it's responsibility, it's making something real. So it's really asking us to devote ourselves to this. And also Jupiter and Virgo, it's all about this purity, devotion, creating yourself as the sacred vessel for spirit. And I'm talking about these aspects for those of us who are on this path of physical ascension. You know, for others it might mean events that are more physical. Because when you read astrology, you read it on different levels. If you're still experiencing yourself as your life is just physical, then you're going to have lots of physical events. And they're going to continue to move you more inward. But when you're on a level of spirit moving inside and then to the outside and then merging it as one, no more separation, then you will see that it's going to be more as internal integrations, internal activations that therefore bring embodiment. So you're going to experience these aspects more as your inner union. Physicality through that Saturn aspect, which is, you know, getting things real, is also important. We are here to be love informed. We are here to form partnerships also in the physical, but it begins with ourselves, our own sacred partnership. And watch my video on illuminated unions and devotional partnership for more on that topic. So Saturn will also move into Sagittarius in the middle of September, I think, which will be more of that devotion again through expansion. And it's connected with Jupiter because Sagittarius is ruled by Jupiter. So these dances that are right now happening for us in September, I think there's never been so many because we also have the eclipses. First one in Virgo, I think, second one in Aries, which will be the last of the 4 tetras of these blood red moons, which we call them. So it's going to be bringing us to completion. We're now in September in this wave of bringing certain parts of us from the previous cycles, kind of like knitting them together in one whole so we can start this new cycle, because towards the end of September a new cycle begins for us. Specifically around 27 to September. And I usually call these 27 dates my beloved date, because the 27 is that galactic degree and it's connected with the galactic origin, the origin of our Milky Way galaxy. And these degrees, especially if you have them in your chart, and I share more of this in my Cosmic Convergence workshop and in the readings that are going to come as following when I am done with my holiday of integration, then you have this understanding why it's so important. And especially this September month, the 27 number is going to be really important and pivotal, because it is also a number of unconditional love and service. And in this completeness together, it adds up to 9. And 9 is the path of the hermit, the sacred wise one. It's also connected with the aspect of Virgo, which is that inwardly oriented to refine and perfect on the outside. So when you mash up the Venus and Mars together, you kind of have this aspect of 5, so the pentagram, the refinement, the feminine, and the 7, more the spirit-based. And so the soul and spirit come together and they form a beautiful union. And the unions, you know, the blessed unions, the illumined unions, we should all know at this time really have this in our hearts. I mean, I'm always honoring the beloved every day. I have every altar in my house is a beloved altar. And recently I've shared this with you, that this is the way because I came here to work more with ethereal energies and to just see them here on the planet. And they eventually realize, through other means, through people, through everything. And I gave that breath of life to it. And just by holding this space, by you becoming it, and the more you become it, which means through embodiment, the more it has potential to grow through you. So you're planting seeds, and this is how we all plant seeds. So these eclipses are going to start this new cycle, and it is really related with this beloved energy a lot. And if you hold this space for even a little to honor the beloved, that would be great, because you're also assisting the planet to lift the level of love, that true love, when two beings come together to merge in order to contribute something, not just to themselves, their own lives, but enrich the lives of the society at large, to the ascension of the planet, raise the frequency of that. So raising your frequency through devotion means you're literally doing it in the physical. You know, as a soul you have a certain frequency, but the level of love means the level of allowance for you through your body. So sometimes we deny aspects, or we kind of have these, we don't allow all the love to permeate us. You know, sometimes you will try to, with your great luminescent love that you hold, kind of wash it over someone and they're not ready, they're going to feel raped. They're going to be too much love for them, and that's what happens. So it has to be unconditional. We can't like just overflood someone. That's why we do it, just reverberating it out. Sometimes we still say, I'm sending you love, brother or sister, I'm sending you love. We don't need to send love to anybody. We're just being love, and if they're open, they'll feel us. We're connecting through our heart empathy, which is this feeling center of our souls. And this full moon in Pisces, which is now at the end of the month, the end of August, which aligns with the Mars and Venus coming together in conjunction, it's bringing us this new sense of really being in your own revelation, being in your psychic self, being in your true visionary self, love, refinement, grace, beauty. It's all the aspect of Pisces, ruled by Neptune, and Neptune is in a position to the Sun in conjunction with Jupiter now. So it's all like this influencing each other, this part of expansion, and then influencing our inner spirituality and sharing it with the world. This is so important. And September, if you just hold a space for a breakthrough, whatever it is, allow the breakthrough to happen naturally. You don't have to strive for it. It's like, oh, I need to do this, I need to do that, so I'll be better aligned. This is so old. Just have the intent, and the intent means you vibrationally align with the essence you wish to embody. So by desiring a beloved, then you become the beloved. You hold the space of beloved, all the things in honoring. How do you honor your beloved frequency? So recently I will share that my 27th is usually the 27th of the month. Also when it comes, I always have these beloved days. And now, by yesterday, having one such a day and having it spent in the most beautiful way, I was actually guided to every day of the month honor myself and my own soul connection, but also doing it for the whole by having this as my personal holiday. So I said, there's these imposed holidays coming from the outside on the mainstream that they don't necessarily do anything for us. It's important that we find our own honoring of what you honor, then you start to empower that and you feed it such love. And for me, I decided, okay, on those days, I will just be myself. I won't work, I won't do anything like that on the outside. I'll really just honor the beloved energy so it can wash over the planet. It can go out where it needs to go, and then you increase the level of that. So that's about that. So enjoy this beautiful moon in Pisces, because it's really bringing this potential, creativity, romance. It's still aspected with this Leo because of this conjunction of Mars and Venus. So it's a lot of this Leo energy, creativity, passion, romance, just wanting to feel more alive, wanting more of life. Sometimes there's still parts of us that say, I can't do that because then this won't happen. These controlled aspects, when we have relationships, how often do we not be our authentic selves because we think, I have it a certain way. And just recently, Muji made a beautiful video on relationship. It's only 10 minutes long, but it says everything. Because he shares on how we sometimes want to, when something goes a bit off in partnership, we want to control it by, I need to think it through. Why? What should I do? We go to the method, we go to the principle, we go to what we've been told we need to do, instead of doing what is right with the heart. And by doing what is right by your heart, already aligning with the hearts of all. And I've shared this with you before. I said, when you live your highest good, it's also for the highest good of the other. But our mind is telling us, okay, so if I choose this for the heart, will it be good for the other? You don't need those questions because they're self-explanatory when you know that, this impulsive living, but through the soul. When I talk about soul impulses, which is what humanity is learning now, just thinking through rationally, but thinking through these soul impulses. I'm going to explain an example how this comes for me. So this is not the same as being irrational or having those mind impulses, which is egoic impulses sometimes when you're being reactive. It's the impulse of your soul, which, imagine you're in this light, right? You have a monadic presence. It always showers you, but sometimes you're not feeling it because you're too busy with things. When we're too busy with things, we can't feel. We're not always receiving that. So when I have my own sacred ritual, I go for a run, then I sit on this bench just for a while to just receive. I receive creation songs. I receive guidance what to do. I receive feelings. I sometimes just cry for no reason for being so happy. It's because it's how I honor this divine feminine, the receiving part, not just the action. The action base is usually this old patriarchal way, but the revealing part of us, the sacred feminine, already creates the action by just first allowing this allowance to take place. So it's very important you create this for yourself, and of course the gratitude ritual. So I'll share this on the end of the video, how simple it is to increase our vibration just through gratitude. And yes, when this is so, then just we allow these impulses through the soul to wash us over. So when I get an impulse, when I know it's from the soul, it's a thing I don't even think about. You know, let's say I was thinking about going to the seaside, and I think about it. Should I go? Should I not go? This is usually mental. But I'm doing something else, or I'm just meditating, and then all of a sudden I get this impulse, just thought that's so strong. It's not like thoughts you think that are like da 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 da, you know, like in a row. It's just one thought, and it's a feeling-based thought. It's hard to explain this, but I know you will feel into it when you do your own meditation rituals. And it's so strong, the feelings overwhelm you. You feel such joy, you feel such rush. And there might be a part of the mind, let's say you're guided to write to someone or express something. It's so sudden, and you're thinking, oh, I shouldn't, because maybe they should act this way or that way. And just recently I was guided to send something to someone that's not even talking to me. And it felt so right. And I didn't get a physical confirmation that this was done, but the person visited me in the dreams. So then later I got this affirmation, you know, alignment that, look, you made what you needed to. You trusted this impulse. The mind could say, oh, but the person's not even talking to me and they were mean or whatever. You know, this is how the mind tells. The angelic love within us is so unconditional. It doesn't think things through. It feels this, you know, this universal wisdom speaks to you through this overwhelming feeling of your soul. It's not that impulsive that's irrational. You know, you're just doing something and it's irrational. It's the impulse of the soul. And that's a different thing, and humanity is learning this. So as the planet is coming more and more in this balancing of the equal wholes, masculine, feminine, this yin and yang polarities, we're starting to feel this. So the more open, the more neutral, just open and receptive we are, the more we can feel this universal voice speaking through us. And this universal voice guides you beyond these concepts you have built for yourself or for others, and these roles and how other people are and what you should or shouldn't. You just do it because it feels right. And you won't always get the confirmation in the physical. You can't expect it to either, because it's not what unconditional is. And then it comes to you. And for me, the person came to me in the dream, and I knew there was an opening. And I knew that by me being guided to send them something, I opened something up, and to trust that guidance without the mind telling me I shouldn't because this and that. So the spirit message for this month is also the fulfillment of wishes and coming into our own. But we need to really know what we want, because it's coming fast. It's going to be a fast manifestation month. It's going to be lots of creativity, lots of things, lots of movement, like this chariot aspect in the tarot. It's like movement. Maybe things that felt stagnant before, but now there's just going to be movement, okay? So this gratitude exercise I want to share at the end is very simple. It's just sometimes, you know, and I get letters from people who say, the world is so gloomy and dark. I feel so alone. What do? I would just rather, you know, just end this life. Sometimes people still feel this way, and they're just beginning, they're awakening. And it's a very simple thing. It's for the already awakened one and the awakening one, for everybody, this gratitude, because gratitude opens the gateway to grace, and grace is the aspect of the Divine Mother, which is all life and creation. So just by being in gratitude, even if you can't feel in this moment, when something happens, instead of you taking it for granted or not paying attention to it at all, because sometimes good things happen to people and they won't even notice them. They're just whatever. It's just what it is. You're taking it for granted. What if maybe one day it's gone? You was like, oh, where was that thing? You know, I wasn't even paying attention to it. So it's just so simple. Whenever something really comes and it like sparks you up, just, oh, I'm so grateful for that. Oh, I'm so grateful to be alive. And put your hand on your chest or just say it. I'm grateful. I am gratitude. And it will start to increase. So I suggested a simple exercise to my mother a few months ago when she had still those bursts coming out and she took things for granted, or she couldn't just appreciate some of the very simple things. Just she got cranky or annoyed, and I said, look, life is so beautiful, but you're not noticing it. And I gave her this simple exercise, and she started really affirming. She's always, whatever happens, something, instead of thinking, oh, this is working against me, she knew it's working for her. So she started saying, I'm grateful for that, I'm grateful. All of a sudden, a few months after, she's a totally transformed person. She's still saying it, of course, but you can feel that now she's also feeling it. And it's so simple. It's for every beginner. Even if you think you're saying it, just saying it, it will start to open your heart. Grace will return into your heart. And there's a beautiful book of masters, which I will share, and I already shared in my masters video on Ascended Masters, and I'm sharing it in the next video too. There's this beautiful book of ritual and prayer It has amazing rituals inside. You don't have to do it by the book exactly, but even just reading them aligns your vibration so much into the presence of what we are as humans. How do we love? How do we experience love? And September is really moving us into this new paradigm. So I hope you enjoyed this forecast, which is not really a forecast. It's just how to align ourselves with the higher energies coming to the planet. And don't worry, some people are still saying, oh, the cabal and this movement and that movement are trying to do everything to work against this, you know, and they're trying to stop these cosmic energies coming to the planet. You can't stop love, right? You can try. You can try. But it's like with yourself. When you start to open the gates, all of a sudden it's like floodgates are open. It's like you start to love so intensely, it's beyond you, because it's universal. It's not just you. You know, most people are still capable of only projecting love towards another person. So they're focused, when they hear the word relationship, they first think about another person. But I'm in a relationship with all life and creation. You see, that's the difference. And you can love so much, you want to kiss and hug everybody without needing to like them or approve them, or it's just, you just love them. It cannot be other way. And it was in my poem to the other person that I sent this to, and they came to me in a dream a while before, and they explained to me why they don't want to have physical contact with me because of some things they still carry inside. So there's always soul communication. For those of us who open, we get in dreams and everything, so we know, and we just know, and we have compassion. But I'm trying to tell you that things are not always how they seem to be. There is much more going on behind the scenes, and once you attune yourself to this gateway of love, your love. That's what you always were meant to be. It's amazing to be loved, to share love, to unify in love. And I wish you so much love, wisdom, and power as always. Take care, and I'll talk to you next time in the next video. Bye bye for now. Namaste.